I never understood why rainbows appear after storms. I mean, it sounds like some cheesy, cliché line you read in a self-help book. But it wasn't until I lived through a storm of my own that I understood. For 30 years, I carried a storm inside me. The day my twin brother Michael disappeared, something inside me shattered. I didn't just lose him. I lost myself. It was October 12th, 1993. I was 7. Michael and I were playing in Cascade Park, running through the autumn leaves, jumping over puddles, laughing like any other kids. We were identical, same red sweaters, same missing front teeth, and that same mischievous grin. One minute, he was there, hiding behind the old oak tree, trying to jump out and scare me, and then nothing. He was just gone, vanished. I called for him. I ran around that park, screaming his name. The whole world felt like it stopped moving, like I was stuck in a dream. But Michael was nowhere. I didn't even know how to begin looking. They searched for days, police, helicopters, everyone. But there was nothing. No trace. Just empty air. The worst part wasn't the search. It wasn't the not knowing where he was. It was this feeling that I had been left behind, like I was just half of who I was supposed to be. Losing Michael wasn't just losing a brother. It was losing a part of my soul. Every year, on my birthday, I would make the same wish, same as every other kid blowing out their candles, to find Michael, to understand why he was taken, to understand why I was left alone. Years passed. I kept living, but it was like I was a ghost. The world moved on, but I was stuck. I could never truly connect with anyone. Not the way I did with Michael. It was like part of my brain was missing, like I was always waiting for him to walk back into my life, to fill the space that was just empty. And then, 3 weeks ago, a Facebook message changed everything. Thomas, I think you're my brother. I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. I stared at that message for what felt like hours. My heart was pounding, like it was going to burst right out of my chest. And the picture, it was him. Michael. The eyes. The smile. That tiny scar above our right eyebrow from when we tried to jump off the roof and be Superman at age 5. Everything about him was exactly the same. I thought I was going to pass out. But the truth, what I found out next, I wish I could say I was prepared for it, but I wasn't. Michael wasn't lost. He was taken, and not by some stranger. No, it was a woman, someone I didn't even know existed. She had lost her son to cancer the same year that Michael disappeared. She saw him that day in the park, and she believed, he was her son, the one she had buried. She took him, kidnapped him, raised him as her own. In her final days, she did the hardest thing any parent could do. She sent Michael to find me. She gave him the tools to come home. Last week at the airport, I met him. 30 years of grief, pain, and loss vanished in a heartbeat. I stood there in shock, looking at a man who was me. Not a stranger, not some distant relative, my twin. And in that moment, I realized something that hit me harder than anything. He wasn't just my brother. He was the other half of me that I'd been searching for my whole life. Mom fainted. Dad, he just couldn't stop crying. But Michael and I, we stood there, and all those years, those 30 years of wondering, of feeling lost, of wondering if it was my fault, just melted away. We were whole again. We were finally together. Yesterday, we went back to Cascade Park. But it wasn't like before. We weren't scared little boys anymore. We were men who had lived through the darkest storms and had finally found our rainbow. We sat under that oak tree, talking about everything and nothing at all. It was everything I needed. I've learned that hope is never wasted. Love is never truly lost. And forgiveness? It's the bridge between our darkest moments and our brightest futures. If you're carrying a storm inside, hold on. Your rainbow might be just around the corner, because sometimes the greatest plot twists in life aren't endings at all. They're beautiful, unexpected new beginnings.